All right, it's getting late. It's going on early, so I'll keep this short. But watch till the end because I'm going to do my rip-off impression of the Salty Crackers sign-off. So, knowing that, check this out. One of the comments tonight on an earlier video highlighting that the U.S. courts refusing to take on cases could be considered being AWOL, right? I think this is what this is referring to. Torgo 1969 asking, what do we usually do to soldiers who desert their post in a time of crisis? That was a question I actually didn't know the answer to, so great question, Torgo 1969. Thank you for giving me something to ponder. So I thought, in regards to John Roberts, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, he's been MIA, not just once. The first time that I thought was actually during the first impeachment trial. I say the first because if you can believe it, they're actually going through with a second. Nope. John Roberts gets a question submitted, as they all were, in writing, from senators. Senator Rand Paul submitted a question with the name of Eric Ciaramella on it. And John Roberts refused the ask. He refused to ask the question because he said he was protecting the whistleblower. Now, that was an astonishing revelation because no one knew who the whistleblower was. Right? That's why they were all protecting him. So it's odd that he seemingly just backed off of his duty. His duty was to read the question aloud. And there should have been a audible gasp in the room because the jig would have been up. No trap sprung by John Roberts. He made sure he covered that up. He tamped that flame. So instead, he deserted his post. No, not that time. That was just discretion. He was just using some discretion. The rumors of John Roberts screaming and throwing a hissy fit and yelling at all of the three new Supreme Court justices during Trump's term, who were all looking at the case from Texas after the election. They're all looking at this Texas case, 17 states signing on to say they want an audit. They don't agree with the way that certain states, and they were named as defendants, that these states had violated their own state election laws and by doing so, cheated Texans out of their election results at the national level. If the Texans follow their own laws, and Michigan and Pennsylvania and New Jersey don't, Georgia, then they get sued. The Supreme Court just dismisses it outright. Nope, no. You don't have standing. We can look at that and say, I think, beyond any doubt, with the rumor you're hearing of John Roberts screaming at everybody, saying, if you go through with pushing to see this, if you want to actually take this case, we're going to absolutely have a blown gasket. The country will be over. We're going to have riots. The whole thing will be undone. Is that because of the result you foresaw if you took on the case? We all think so. We all thought so. So another desertion of post. No, you can just say, he's looking at the case. He's playing the long ball, and he's saying, this is not worth taking on. I don't see the merits of this case, and plus, you don't have legal standing. Okay? Well, he also said he's not going to preside over this impeachment trial. Remember, I said the first one, he got caught up with this stumper of a question because he was about to accidentally, he thought, out a whistleblower. How he could have known that is beyond any of us because none of us knew who that person was. Big tech and the media made sure of it. But John Roberts is not going to preside over this impeachment. That is absolutely, in a time of crisis, that is by definition what this is. This is a desertion of post. No? Senator Leahy is going to step in as a Democrat and try to be an unbiased, objective witness? No. John Roberts ceding what would be a check on a constitutional power. A balance. Nope, now it is just he's shifting his power over to that side. Is that fair? Is that right? Are they going to try to railroad the former president? Not a big question and answer there. This is the point, though. And Torgo 1969 asks, and we answer. Article 85, when AWOL becomes desertion. So I had looked into what are the punishments for anyone in an office, in a duty, having taken an oath of office or an oath of service, what happens when you go AWOL? What happens when you're gone? Well, we looked into it, and there are many, many punishments, some ranging from just like a slap on the wrist. Some you can be detained for 30 days and you lose rank, you get demoted, you can be fined, you can lose 2/3 of your pay for a month. But the big one is this one. Desertion. This is when you are gone from your post for an extended period amount of time. We'll just read. It's the most serious of absentee offenses. It is the primary difference. AWOL and desertion is the intent to remain away from the military permanently. So clearly we're not talking military, we're talking about the court. And John Roberts, if he is a constitutional officer of this country, being the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, you could say that he has a certain military presence, being that I don't think he goes anywhere without military security, right? So, at the very least, I know he's not an enlisted member. He's not a part of the military by definition. I know. You don't at me on that one. I make a lot of mistakes. You can correct me anywhere you like. But just make sure that you know I'm not confusing it by saying that the Supreme Court's part of the military. I would make the argument, though, that you could say the Supreme Court is just as important as any general, and certainly the Chief Justice would be equally important, as are all the justices, as the Congress, as the president, because we hold these offices, these branches, in equal esteem. So you can't say that him being at his desk, him being on the bench, doesn't have weight, right? He has to be there. Otherwise, he is AWOL of his duties. He's gone. And if he's doing this over months and months, not being at all impactful, not doing anything significant with his time on the bench, then you can say that that is an extended period amount of time. And if we're at war, if we're in a crisis and he's gone for an extended period amount of time, so it boils down to how long were you actually AWOL? And I know John Roberts is not part of the military. He's not considered AWOL. But if he's absent of his duties for an extended amount of time, just let's read through these and then you can see if any of these would apply in your imaginative mind. If a member deserts from their post, but voluntarily returns, they could be dishonorably discharged, they could forfeit all pay. This is what this goes like. If the member deserts and the desertion is terminated by apprehension, they catch you, then you'll be arrested and confined for 3 years. In addition to all of those other things, reduction in your rank, you're fined, you're paying a bunch, dishonorable discharge. If the member deserts, if you leave your post with the intent to avoid hazardous duty or shirk important responsibilities, John Roberts, hey, I don't want to have riots, so we're not going to take the Texas case. I don't want to blow up this whole fake whistleblower scheme, so I'm not going to read the obviously legal and constitutional question during an impeachment trial. John Roberts, that guy. Again, if you desert with the intent to avoid hazardous duty or to shirk important responsibility or service, this is an example, would be a member ordered to deploy to Iraq and then deserts after the deployment. You get sent a question you don't like? I'm not going to read it now. I was sitting on this desk before. I don't want to read these questions now. Second impeachment trial, you notice John Roberts doesn't want to play anymore. He doesn't even want to be handed questions like that. I don't want to have the old EC thing happen again. That's what he's thinking. What about this last one? If the member deserts during time of war. It's not good. It's death or such other punishment, such as life in prison, or as such a court-martial may direct. So, again, I'm not calling for anything for anyone because John Roberts is not in the military. But what would you say the punishment would be, as Torgo asks, for someone who is AWOL or deserts their post, leaves their duties, shirks their important service responsibilities to avoid some hazardous duty during a time of crisis? John Roberts, what would you call that? Anyways, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a good question. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, share, and then, I was supposed to do the salty sign-off. All right, everybody, thank you for liking the video, supporting the channel. If you want to stay up to date with all of this AWOL nonsense, So go ahead and subscribe to the channel and make way, because America must float.